This is Vincent Price. Welcome to Italy, and in our first picture, to Rome. We are looking across the Tiber River at the graceful buildings of the eternal city, warmed by the sun and mellowed by the passage of centuries. Ancient glories are all about us now. The round Castel Sant'Angelo at the right was built 1,800 years ago as the tomb of the Emperor Hadrian. In later centuries, it became a prison, a fortress, and once a refuge for a pope besieged by enemies. At our left, we see the magnificent dome of St. Peter's in Vatican City, heart of the Roman Catholic Church. But now let us enter the city by moving to our second picture into the heart of the Roman Empire. Julius Caesar once stood where we stand now, for these ruins mark the site of the famous Roman Forum. While the legions conquered, the toga-clad senators argued here, weighed policies, made speeches, much as senators still do today. This is where Mark Antony made his famous funeral oration, and Cicero spoke words we still study in school. The Forum was originally the town marketplace. Now let's take a look in number 3 at a modern Roman market. Here is life. Crowded stalls spill over with colorful fruit and vegetables. Laundry hangs from windows. Prices are disputed and gossip exchanged beneath awnings and umbrellas. There's never a dull moment in an outdoor market. Romans do everything with a concentrated passion, even reading, as we see in our next picture. This woman news vendor seems fascinated by one of her own newspapers. She may be reading a scoop on yesterday's discovery of still another priceless classical statue. Archaeology is big news in a city where fabulous treasures from another age may lie buried right beneath your feet. And now, number 5 takes us to the most famous of Rome's ancient architectural marvels. This is the Colosseum, a gigantic monument to man's inhumanity to man. It could seat tens of thousands of Romans, and they were a bloodthirsty lot. They applauded while gladiators hacked each other to bits and Christian martyrs were torn apart by wild beasts. Gladiators marched past the emperor's box with the famous cry, "Hail Caesar, we who are about to die salute you." The Colosseum and all it stood for is a crumbling ruin today. The spirit of the Christian martyrs was to triumph in the end. In picture 6, we see a glorious monument to the faith that conquered not only Rome, but most of the Western world. You are looking at the largest and most famous church in the world. The magnificent dome was the creation of Michelangelo. It rises above St. Peter's Square, a soaring testament to man's spiritual yearning. The Pope is the spiritual leader of more than 400 million people. He is also the absolute ruler of the smallest independent state in the world, the Vatican. Picture 7 shows us 2 members of the famous Swiss Guards, soldiers of the Vatican. Their proudest tradition is that once, hundreds of years ago, the entire guard died holding off the enemy until the Pope was safe inside the Castel Sant'Angelo. Incidentally, this picture proves that Michelangelo had a flair for fashion as well as architecture. He designed the uniforms you're looking at. And now, picture 8 draws us inside St. Peter's to one of the holiest spots in Christendom. St. Peter himself lies buried beneath that high altar. The letters circling above spell out in Latin these words from Matthew, "Thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and I will give unto thee the keys to the kingdom of heaven." When Peter held services deep in the catacombs during the early days of Christianity, could he have dreamed that one day the rough stone altars would be replaced with this splendor? Now, if you will turn the slide card over to number 9, we will move out into the Roman sunlight. The lovely Spanish steps climb from a piazza or square to the graceful church of Trinità dei Monti. For ages, these wide steps surrounded with scented blossoms have been a romantic rendezvous for lovers, poets, and musicians. Byron, Keats, and Wagner all found inspiration here. We can well understand why. Rome by night, as we discover in our next view, has a dazzling beauty all her own. Here we are in one of her great piazzas, filled with glowing marble statues, the music of silvery fountains dominated by the Egyptian obelisk in the background, which climbs into the midnight sky like a golden tower of light. With this splendid scene, we leave the eternal city, hoping, as all do who have come under its spell, to return. In picture 11, we have journeyed south along the Italian coast to a city where everyone sings. This leathery old fisherman, mending his straw net much as his ancestors did, symbolizes the Neapolitan love of sun and sea. Behind him rise the many-colored buildings of the city, the gentle curve of land, the blue waters of the bay, the misty peak of Vesuvius in the background, unite in one magic impression. The volcano is sleeping here, but still dangerous. In the past, its eruptions were deadly. In number 12, we see the remarkable proof. Here are the ruins of Pompeii, a pleasant provincial town in the days of imperial Rome. Then in 79 AD, the top of Vesuvius split apart and Pompeii was buried in a hail of hot volcanic ash. It remained buried until excavations were begun in the 18th century. The blanket of ash kept it in a unique state of preservation all that time, and nowhere else is there such an intimate record of daily life under the Caesars. We push on down the coast in picture 13 to one of the most picturesque resort areas in the world. This is the Amalfi Coast, where Italians on vacation put into practice one of their favorite sayings, dolci far niente. It is sweet to do nothing. But there is actually much to do. Explore the terraced mountainside, wander through the sunny streets of the ancient village of Amalfi, or bathe in the sparkling waters of the Gulf of Salerno. For those who prefer a swimming pool, we move in our next view to one of Italy's fabulous luxury hotels. This one is on the island of Ischia, set like an emerald in the Bay of Naples. The Isle of Ischia seems made for pleasure. It reflects the old pagan attitude that says life is short, enjoy yourself while you can. In number 15, we come upon another island in the Bay of Naples, even more famous than Ischia. These colorfully costumed fishermen and their ladies are natives of the island of Capri. A Roman emperor chose to spend his last years on this magic isle, and now 60,000 tourists a year come under its spell. Even hard-working fishermen seem to have a special joy of life when they live on Capri. Here they are performing the tarantella, one of their liveliest folk dances. Let's go now, in picture 16, to an island which has actually given its name to a fish. This rugged fellow mending his nets is from the large island of Sardinia off the Italian coast. The island is famous, of course, for the sardines caught in nearby waters, but these strong nets will probably be used to trap small tuna. The coating of red dye protects the nets from the salt water. Flashing their dark eyes and white teeth and wearing festive costumes, the lovely young ladies in our 17th picture would brighten any occasion. Here they have come from their village to Sardinia's capital city of Cagliari. A great holiday is in progress honoring the memory of the city's patron saint. The signorines are smiling because they know that after the serious part of the ceremony will come feasting, music, and possibly a flirtation or two with young men from a neighboring village. The Italians' love of bright colors, so evident here, is even more apparent in our next picture. You might think this was the splendidly ornamented chariot of some ancient warrior king, but it's just a humble donkey cart. However, it's a Sicilian donkey cart, which explains the lavish decor. Sicilians are proud of their rich tradition of folk art. Just look at that intricate design. Great kings and queens live again in vividly painted scenes on this cart. For Sicilians are also proud of their place in history. Sicily, the largest island in the Mediterranean, was an important center of civilization as far back as the days of ancient Greece. In number 19, Greece seems to live again. This little temple, over 2,500 years old, still stands in the ancient city of Agrigento, on the southern shore of Sicily, a reminder of the years when the island was a Grecian colony. The Greeks built to last. These golden wildflowers will soon fade, but generations yet unborn will come to gaze and wonder at the lovely temple of Agrigento.